Hey, what's up, y'all? Today I'm going to be discussing Tufti the Priestess, which is, to clarify real quick, if you don't already know, but I'm sure that you probably do if you're watching this video, a newer book by Vadim Zeland, who wrote Transurfing, which if you've watched any of my videos on transurfing, then you're obviously familiar with it. If you're not, it is a book written by Vadim. Once again, he's a quantum physicist. Anyways, I'm going to be discussing his follow-up book, Tufti the Priestess. And as soon as this video came, or as soon as so I follow Bootsy Greenwood, and or I'm subbed to him on YouTube. As soon as he posted the video of the audiobook of Tufti, I listened to the entire thing straight through. I think I might have been at home. I don't even remember where I was, but I listened. Maybe I didn't listen to the entire thing, but within the next couple days, and actually within the next week, I literally listened to that book maybe 2 or 3 times all the way through, because it really blew my mind, like the stuff that they were talking about in there and the way that it made so much sense and expanded on all the concepts in transurfing and made them almost easier to grasp in like a step-by-step. Yeah, no, 100% easier to grasp, step-by-step, what to do, like literally techniques. And so what I wanted to cover on this video today is the plait technique. In his book, he discusses that we have this plait, which is essentially what he describes as almost like a phantom limb. And then I've heard other people like Bootsy describe it as that as well, that comes out from behind you. And it's a little bit unclear the way that they describe it in the book. I'm not 100% sure if he's saying it comes from the back of your neck or literally out from your spine. But in any case, it makes it a little bit ambiguous as how to visualize it, because that is part of the process. As far as the book goes to say, it says that, we obviously have heard of like traditional visualization techniques, and you're supposed to just sit there and visualize and also feel the feelings, feel the emotions, as many sensory sensations that you can add. So that would be touch, the smell of what kind of smells you would be experiencing if you were to experience the scene. There's another great YouTuber called Joseph Ally who I've been watching lately, and he is a student of Neville Goddard's, and all of these things they're all almost just different ways of explaining very similar phenomenon, which is you could find it and draw it back from the book The Kabbalion, or the 7 Hermetic Principles, which is the first principle on there is mentalism. And so that goes to say that like this entire universe is mental. We are but a figment of the creator's imagination, or his mental creations. So, not to go off on a tangent, but anyways, what I wanted to bring to the table here with this video is just a different take on the plait technique. As far as, obviously, the plait technique, just to go over what it is exactly, is so not only do you incorporate these senses that we talked about, you incorporate this feeling, the sensation of this, what we call this phantom limb, or this plait behind us. And as if we imagine this and can feel the sensation of it behind us, we feel as though, so he talks about 2 screens in Tufti, right? There's the outer screen, which is this physical outward reality. And John Kehoe talks about this too. He says we are literally mesmerized and hypnotized by this reality. And that is the outer world, like literally the things that we are seeing on this outward screen here and now. Then there's the inner screen, And he says when we get in a emotional rut, we get in anxiety, we're filled with fears, doubts, worries, insecurities, anything like that, we retreat back into this inner screen, if you will. So that could be, you know, thinking about numerous things that could be on your mind, feeling sorry for yourself, analyzing some situation to death, mulling things about over in the mind, the chatter of the mind. Kehoe calls it the monkey mind in his teachings, which are also very relevant as well to this whole discussion. And so with these two screens being the two operating screens that we go to and from, you know, we're either in this outward screen where we're literally reacting to our environment and everything around us, or we retreat into the inner screen where we are now, our attention is focused inward on ruminating, or there's different words you could use to describe it, but you could also be thinking positive thoughts in this inner screen, right? You're just essentially what you're doing is you're bringing your attention back just only on your thoughts. Your thoughts are just swirling around. So what he describes in Tufti, or she describes, is that basically what we do in order to gain more control is to have our attention not immersed in only one of these screens, but to be able to see both at the same time and become the observer. I've heard in other people have said this, you know, Eckhart Tolle, if you've listened to The Power of Now or listened to any of his stuff, he discusses and describes this phenomenon of the observer as well. Essentially what that does is it detaches you from being so hypnotized and immersed in this outer world of form, outer reality, that you're now able to see things more clearly, more objectively. And you are now able to see yourself and reality, as he puts it in Tufti. So when you see yourself and you see reality, you have this new, he describes it as this new kind of power, and you could think of it as an aura that now you have. And he says that now, you know, he calls us all snails in the book. So he says all the other snails around you start to perk up their horns towards you, because now you're emitting this light, and now you become a firefly in this environment where all these other snails are around, and you spark up. It's not something that can be seen necessarily with the human eye, but it's something that can be felt subconsciously. And I've experienced this. I mean, it's magnetism is what it is. It's having this magnetic aura. There's another YouTuber that I just started watching his videos. He's good too. His name is Trenius Henderson, and he just put out a video about this topic as well. But essentially, that's what it is. You now have this higher level of awareness, because you're not sucked into this limited viewpoint of this certain character playing this certain role in this certain script of this movie that is described in the book Tufti. Now you are able to step away from the script a little bit. He describes it as you're a mannequin that has stepped off of the podium and is now able to freely take charge of himself, take charge of his own behavior, his own actions, his own thoughts. And if you're familiar with the book, all this will make sense. If you're not, definitely read the book and then come back to this video. But essentially, this is what he's describing in this book. It touches on like things that I've experienced firsthand and that I know other people have experienced. I know, you know, I've tried to have discussions about these things before, and it's always just kind of, it's very abstract. It's not the easiest thing to put into words to describe these different things that we're talking about, but we're attempting to do so here. And that's what Vadim has done so expertly in his books. So with all this being said, the Plait, once you're aware of the Plait, once you tune in, once you can see yourself and see reality, and the Plait is a tool for this, is what he describes. And then from there, he says you project your own script. You can start to project your own reel or film or slide or image onto the film roll. So now what we do is we use this sensation coming from behind us and around us, is what he describes it as. And this is the key point that I'm going to bring up, and we're going to get to exactly what I'm going to expound on as far as this goes. I think most people, when they hear this plate thing and thinking about the back and the nape of the neck and the going up from the spine and these energy currents and all this, it gets a little bit confusing, and there's too many different things being described. I really appreciate how descriptive he was with it, but what I think that it does is it provides, there's just too many different things to think about, and then it makes it a little bit tough to know if you're doing it right, know if, you know, all of that. So the way that I have kind of latched on is I really took note of that sentence, because I was really trying to figure out and get that sensation of this plate. So that sentence where he describes behind and around you started to make more sense to me, because in my experience, and you know, if you think about having this energy field around you, you are, and the way that he describes the phantom limb is like something that's it's there, but you can't, it's not physically, it's not like a hand, it's not like an appendage that's physically on your body, but it's something that you feel nonetheless. And then if you think about the way that people a lot of people talk about this, how like when you're a child, you can see energy more, and over time you get told by the adults around you, like, no, like, you know, if you're seeing auras or energies or describing anything like that to the adults, they're gonna be like, that's not, no, that, don't be weird, that's not real, all this stuff. Just same way that, you know, we're taught that our dreams are not real when we're children. Basically, this idea of this aura that we have is something that actually, in a lot of ways, has been scientifically proven. I don't have the exact like scientific literature ready for you right now, right here, but I've heard that they've done studies, they've been able to measure, and you know, the energy fields. I mean, it makes a lot of sense, right? Electromagnetic waves, everything that we see and perceive with our senses isn't always the reality of things. I mean, we clearly are able to use radio, telephone signal, wireless, all of this stuff, 5G now we got. We can't see that stuff, but it's there. I mean, it's giving off a frequency, it's giving off radiation, energy, what have you. So it makes complete and utter sense that we are these radiating beings, or radiating this energy. And you know, so what this leads me into is, I was in there's a festival called Lightning in a Bottle here in California, and I was there a couple years back. Actually, this was like in 2015, a few years back, and there was another quantum physicist there, and his name was Nassim Haramein. And I'm gonna put a link in the description so you can find him, and if I can find the video where he describes this, I'll put that in the description as well. But he basically describes this toroidal field, and that all of us have this toroidal field. It's also a part of sacred geometry, and essentially it's like a donut shaped energy current. And what it does is it runs through our body. It also runs through a lot of things that run electricity. This shape, what it does is it swirls in a circle, right? So it swirls in a circle in this donut type fashion. So it's completely feeding back into itself. And so what he described, though, is that he said that as human beings, what we are is we are simultaneously walking around, living, breathing white holes and also black holes at the same time. So that is to say that we are constantly emitting energy out, and emitting our thought forms, emitting our energy, emitting everything about our being into this world around us, and then we are also receiving everything. So and that's kind of how this toroidal shape is formed. It's like you're receiving energy from above or below, however you would picture it, and then it's feeding into this toroidal field that's around us, right? And it's swirling all around us. So it's like that essentially is this. Another thing that they talked about is the Merkava, which is like, it's another way of describing this energy field around us. I'm not going to go into too much detail about that in this video, but what this really helped me, I mean, you hear it again and again. I mean, Esther Hicks talks about a vortex, you know, what's in your vortex. And that started to make a lot more sense for me when I tangentially, I've already had firsthand experiences, you know, at festivals or even just walking around sober, but especially with the aid of psychedelics, where I can feel energy. I can perceive energy with my eyesight, there's an energy coming off of people. You know, you can perceive even in a sober state, even when you're not, you can feel people's energy, right? You feel somebody's in a bad mood, they walk into the room, and all of a sudden, everyone can feel that. Same thing with somebody who's bursting with energy, bursting with buoyancy, confidence, got a pep in their step, just a look in their eye, right? You feel that energy coming off of people. So this, what all this is, basically what I'm saying is, if you can, rather than focusing so much of your attention on trying to develop the sensation of this plate per se, get in touch with, the energy behind, but also around you. What is it? And then start feeling this vortex of energy. Start imagining that this energy is circulating from the source, from the cosmos, whatever, what have you, the earth, the air is coming up. You're breathing it in. It's invigorating you from, you know, going up the base of your spine. However you want to imagine this. I mean, everyone's individual experience is going to be different with this, but like what I experienced, I was just walking around. I was listening to Tufti in my headphones, and something clicked for me after listening to that shit for like a week straight. And I was like, man, like I can really feel this energy flowing through and around me. And it felt like I could almost see this like whirlwind of energy all around me, like a vortex, like a whirlwind of energy. And I got this feeling like this is the feeling that I've been looking for. And it reminded me of other states of being that I've been in where I just felt freaking powerful, man. Like, you feel like you're in tune with that higher energy, the higher self, the higher, the source energy that we come from. It's flowing through you easily and effortlessly. You notice you're breathing. You start to breathe fully and deeply and effortlessly. You're not constricting your breathing. You're not constricting your body movements. Your movements are flowing easily and effortlessly because you're drinking deeply from this breath, this source energy that is nourishing you. And I think we forget that, just much like we forget, like our mental diet is going to be informed by what we consume, the information, where our attention goes. The air that we breathe is nourishing our body all the time. What we're breathing is we're breathing in life force. Like, yeah, we consume, we think about eating food when we're consuming, but we're also just consuming energy of the universe, universal energy. So I wanted to just give that kind of breakdown. I hope that it makes sense, and I hope that, you know, if you've been kind of attempting to use the plate, or if you've been kind of feeling like you've been struggling a little bit with exactly what he's talking about and how to use that, try this out. Try feeling, you know, not only this energy behind you, but around you, and then projecting that onto the film roll. I almost have this like sensation that also comes up. He says this is your inner intention, so not to use this, but I found it's helpful for me that there's also this like imprinting of this new film roll, this new scene, this new imagination. And if I do that, and I almost imagine like there's some sort of, I almost hear a sound and feel a sensation, like a comforting, like this is being ingrained, like this is being imprinted. And when I do that and I feel simultaneously this energy, and I just kind of have this like detachment from it as well, like, okay, it's okay if this doesn't happen, but you know, it has been imprinted. The energy has been sent out to the universe. Another thing he talks about in Transurfing, as well as Tufti, is another technique is like, you imagine that and then you go and you like send that frequency out. You send that image out into the universe and you say, my intention is being realized. That's another technique. So, you know, doing all of these things together at once if you kind of implement the things that I'm talking about here, I hope that you have a little bit more success with the plate activation and feeling that confident feeling that yes, this message has been sent out. This is coming to pass. This is something that I have sent out into the universe, and the universe has received my message. And there is a like tangible sensation that you feel when you have that, as opposed to thinking, oh, you know, am I doing this right? Like, oh, I'm supposed to imagine this thing that's completely foreign to you, right? You've never heard of this before until you've read the book. So hope that makes it easier. Hope that clears things up and gives you guys a different kind of technique to try out with it. Like I said, I'm gonna link Nassim's Haramain's video if I can find it below. If you guys like this, also please give me a comment and a like down below. It helps me out with the algorithm. And then also, I would love to actually hear your guys' experiences with this, because I'm sure I'm not the only person that has kind of been figuring out, you know, my own personal what's going to work for me as far as this plate stuff and how to actually implement these techniques in Tufti the Princess. So please, let's get a discussion going in the comments about, you know, your experience with this. Is it working for you? What techniques you've used that have actually worked for you? And then also, if you guys liked this video, let me know. And I'm gonna do more videos on this topic and on Tufti, because I know there's not a huge amount of people that are covering this right now. And I know it's been a long time since I posted a vid. I know, you know, but now I'm in a new apartment. I was moving. I had a lot of stuff going on, man. So I'm ready to put these videos out. And I wasn't even, you know, I don't even have any of the lighting or anything set up in here. I just got this couch in here, but I was like, you know what, I want to knock this video out because it's been on my mind, and I wanted to just put this out to offer some help with anybody else that's been wanting to get that. Thank you very much for watching and tuning in, and I will see you guys next time. Peace out.